So cyber liability insurance gets a lot of press whenever there's a big hacking event or a ransomware event or some other type of threat or risk to a company. But cyber liability insurance needs to be looked at in a different way than normal insurance. Here's an article from the Washington Post that talks about cyber insurance may not be making companies more secure. And here's the takeaway right here. Insurers sometimes do more harm than good by agreeing to cover companies that are not protecting themselves. Sometimes when you have cyber insurance, it makes you feel like you don't have to put in place proper defense against cyber threats. Too much insufficient focus on prevention. That's the takeaway. As of now, there's no industry standard for how well a company must be protected to get cyber insurance. And that's changing a little bit. If you are a corporation that's looking to get a cyber liability insurance policy for your company, if the insurance provider, carrier that you're talking to is not asking you questions about what preventive measures you have, about what security measures you have in place, you probably need to go with a different company because they're probably not really that sophisticated in terms of cyber protection. People review risk as they would risk from a hurricane or wind damage. That's what they should do, but it's not like that. Insurance are paying out more and more for cyber attacks, and that's driving up premiums, making it harder for small and medium-sized organizations to afford coverage. So if you're just signing up with a company that asks no questions, it sells you a policy, that policy is probably going to either be canceled at the end of the year or go up in price because there's little incentive for companies that already have insurance to do more than the bare minimum to protect themselves. If you are a company getting cyber insurance, that's a good thing, but make sure it's only part of your defense. Make sure that you're putting in good procedures in place, and hopefully your insurance carrier gives you some suggestions because they should have experience dealing with these threats with other insured organizations to tell you what to watch out for. They had a summit which some of the insurance companies were talking about what the protective measures should be. Any one company increasing their cyber hygiene or protection is great, but if everyone in aggregate meets a standard, that makes attacks much harder, meaning that if everybody in the group of insureds has a certain level of minimum protection against cyber threats, then everybody in that group is better protected. So if you go with an insurance carrier that has a minimum standard of coverage, then you know that an attacker is going to look at other victims. Insurers couldn't impose less rigorous cyber standards and verification procedures and still not pay out too much in claims. That's changed, meaning that insurance companies that don't have rigorous standards are not going to survive because they're going to pay out too many claims. Make sure that your insurance carrier has some standards about what you have to have. Things like patching bugs quickly, multiple authentication, 2FA on your phone, who can access company networks, and those requirements can be tailored for different types of companies. So your company probably has different requirements than another. Takeaways from this video: get a cyber policy. Make sure that the company you go with asks you some questions about your coverage and has suggestions about what you should do to protect your organization. And this is what they should be doing. Insurance could be playing a more active role. Make sure that your insurer is checking in with you at least a quarter, semi-annually, once a year, to tell you what are good preventive measures, minimum standards to protect your company from a cyber attack.